right. Hello, everyone. I am author Teresa Banks. Welcome to Ellacec Publishing Live. I am so happy to have all of you here. For those of you that celebrate, happy Easter, happy Resurrection Sunday, as some of us call it. I hope that you are enjoying your day. Thank you to those of you that will be tuning in here live and that are here already. And a thank you to those of you that will watch later by way of the replay. Well, this is my very first live stream, and I am so happy to be here. I have been broadcasting over the past number of weeks to let you all know that I would be here today talking about what I believe is an important subject matter, being how to develop a manuscript. Whether you are working on your very first manuscript or if you have actually a couple of manuscripts under your belt, that is perfectly fine. Let this be our community, meaning those of us that are in publishing, those of us interested in writing, where we can share with one another. I'll certainly have a number of things every time I'm live to share with all of you, and I'm sure I will learn some things from you as well. Now, let me get a little housekeeping item out the way, and then I will jump right into the subject matter at hand. I do want to ask that each and every one of you please go to the Ellacec Publishing Facebook page. If you have not done so already, please be sure to like, share, and follow the page. I'd also appreciate it if you would hop out there on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and also hit that like button. Definitely hit the notification button, because in between the monthly live shows, there will be a number of things that I put out there on the Ellacec Publishing YouTube channel, and I promise you, you will not want to miss it. Now, with that said, when it comes to publishing and looking to develop that manuscript, it doesn't have to be something that is all scientific and complicated, as if you are working out some type of algebraic formula. What I'm looking to do today is to give you a pathway to get yourself to that place of a completed manuscript where hopefully you will then move it forward and to have it published. Now, anytime I am live, I will definitely have an agenda. And on that agenda, it will list out the way that I will break out these sessions. And today I actually have 6 different segments of breakouts. I know I'm scheduled to go from 3 o'clock until 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, but just a heads up, I might talk just a little bit longer, maybe about 10 minutes-ish longer. So certainly be prepared. And if you don't have something to take some notes, rest your mind assured you will more than likely want to take some notes along the way. Now, let me go ahead and bring up what I'm calling the purple board that lists my agenda. I'm going to talk today about why write a book, what should you write about, prepare to write, know your genre, write your manuscript, and edit your manuscript. All 6 topics of which I believe are very important. And feel free along the way to communicate with me, whether you are watching here by way of YouTube or Facebook, either the Ellacec Publishing Facebook page or my personal Facebook page. I'll be eyeballing the comments and checking the chats. And so if you want to chime in along the way, feel free. I'm first going to talk about why you should even consider writing a book in the first place. And you're welcome in the chat to let me know if you're working on a manuscript, what your why is. And it's important to know your why, because later that will become your motivation in order to actually complete that manuscript. I'm going to bring up something that I prepared here to actually step through this topic on why write a book. There are 3 different reasons I'm going to ask you to consider in writing. The first is obvious, right? Money. People say to themselves they want to sell books, and they certainly want to be paid for it. That makes sense. The second reason that you should consider writing a book is perhaps you want to educate other people. Maybe you've gathered knowledge along the way. Maybe you've done some research. You can absolutely look to publish for that second reason. The third reason that you may want to consider is also an important one as well. You might decide that you want to leave a legacy. I mean, after all of us eventually are going to pass away, and people no doubt will have a number of different things already to remember us by. They may even have some pictures of us. They may even have some video of us with them. But why not leave something tangible, right? Not just for your family and friends and coworkers, but for people all over the world. They could actually check out something that you have written, and they can have that as not just, again, something to remember you by, but something that you're leaving that will actually help other people. So again, the why is important in developing a manuscript so that it will give you that motivation and that drive to actually want to write that manuscript. Well, you may be asking yourself, especially if you're a new writer, what should I write about? What should I write about? I want to give you a few things to consider in regards to what you should write about. Now, first and foremost, truth be told, there are a lot of things that you could write about, and it's up to you to make that decision, but certainly consider your target audience. Who are you writing for? And keep them in mind. That will be your focus. You could write about your passion. Let's say you're into rescuing animals. You could write about that if that's something that you're passionate about. What about your business? You could write about your business. Let's say you're into cosmetology. You're amazing at creating great hairstyles. You could write about that. What about a fantasy? Something completely made up. You could write a whole manuscript about that. Let me give you an example. Let's say that there's a creature that's in this road, not just any creature, but a dinosaur, right? And the dinosaur is actually trying to get away because there's this wizard that's in town blowing this long horn that has made a proclamation that any dinosaur that's caught in town will be turned into a frog. Well, the people that are in the town, they're excited. They are jumping for joy about this proclamation. Now, again, that's something I made up, something I completely made up to just prove a point to you. You could make something up, and that could certainly be written into a book. And then you could consider also an experience. What if you've had either a short or a very long illness? You could write about that. That's something other people could relate to. What if you go on vacation and you take a nasty a nasty spill? You could write about that fall. What if you have made it through a catastrophic event? You could write about that experience as well. And really, when we're just in our everyday lives, when we're just out and about, take, for example, I was on the campus of Governor State University. I thought of a number of things I could write about. I thought I could write about a university or a college living on campus. I could write about people and cultures as well as their beliefs, and all type of things began popping up in my head that I could write about, some of which you see here on the screen. What about the way people commute and get around? I could write about that. Hobbies like fishing, sculptures, and bells and towers are on that campus, beautiful landscape and nature. I could certainly write about all of those different things. And so, needless to say, if you're struggling with what you should even write about, just examine your environment. When you're out about, you could be walking your dog, you might be headed to work. You might be like this person here that's in this video. You might be in a park just stretching or doing some yoga. There are a lot of different things that you could certainly write an entire manuscript about and find a target audience that would be interested in your particular manuscript. Now, let me just check here. I'm looking in the comments. I don't see anyone that has typed anything as of yet. Again, you are welcome to converse with me by way of the chat. If you have any questions along the way, if you just want to say hello, I'm watching from Detroit or New York or California, you're welcome to do that. I'll certainly check after the broadcast and see if there are any questions that come up. If so, I will certainly look to answer them. Right now, with no questions or comments, I'm going to keep moving right along. The third area that I want to cover as you are working toward developing a manuscript is to actually prepare to do so, to get ready to do so. You don't want to just jump into writing a manuscript. The more prepared you are in the very beginning, you'll then find later, oh, this is a piece of cake. I can do it. I can keep moving forward. So let me delve then into this subject matter more of the preparation of writing, prepare to write. You need to carve out some time and certainly have some energy day after day because it could take months, it could take years to finish a manuscript, and you want to be able to run that endurance race for sure. You want to definitely look to line up your resources, sort of like having your ducks in a row, where the very end game is your completed manuscript. And there are certainly things to do in between time. For example, you might need permissions. If so, go to the copyright.gov website to see if you do or not, like in the use of pictures. And speaking of pictures, you could go to pexels.com. They have royalty-free and paid pictures you could use at that site. You might need to line up resources that are people, illustrators, for example. What if you need 2 or 3 proofreaders? What if you need an editor? Go ahead, line those individuals up in advance, give them benchmarks, and certainly due dates on when you need different things done. And then finally, money. Definitely have some money set aside for your project in developing and creating your manuscript because later you may decide you want to self-publish or you might need some money to do your marketing as well as your promoting. Protect your ideas. Please do not be out there on social media blabbing and telling your business of what you are working on and what you're writing. In writers groups, that as well. Don't be out there telling people what's going on. Just write. Just stay in the business of writing and later celebrate and be excited about what you have completed and share then what you have completed with other people. Now, the main reason that I say that you should not be sharing in between time from the start of you creating your manuscript until you're actually done with it and blabbing about it in between is because someone may overhear you and steal your idea. And then they may jump on that and copyright protect the work before you have an opportunity to do so. So it's better to just keep it under wraps, keep your mouth closed and covered. And if you do share your ideas with someone, let it be a few people in your immediate circle that hopefully will keep your idea quiet. Now, this next area that I want to talk about, I believe, is one of the most important things, and that's to know your genre. There are some people, again, that will just jump into writing and think, oh, I can write a book. I don't need to examine anything. I can just jump in there and whatever I have in my mind, just go ahead and put it out there. Well, I don't believe that that's true. In fact, I believe it's extremely important to know your genre, and that's what I'm going to talk about now in much more detail in developing that manuscript of yours. There are 4 key areas that you could look at as far as the genre is concerned, and you see them here on the screen. With fiction, it tends to be things that are imaginary, made up, and untrue. Nonfiction is the opposite. It's real, researched, and true. And then when it comes to poetry, it's lines of text conveying ideas, feelings, and thoughts. And like a play, drama, it's a story typically written to be acted out in front of an audience. And so regardless of your genre, do some research to understand how to write in that genre, maybe by way of the internet or just at your local library, understanding the type of genre you're looking to write in. Let's take fiction as an example. Let's say we're all writing a work of fiction. Fiction is composed of a number of things like characters may be within your fictional work, and you need to give them depth. You need to work out what those characters are doing, like what they're saying, for example, if they have a particular dialect. They may have certainly various points of view. You may need to use pronouns, for example, for first person point of view in order to describe those characters. And then things are going on, all type of things may be going on within your work of fiction that you're trying to share with others. There could be a plot, stuff's happening, some huge climax that's going on, and then eventually a resolution. And then within your story, there's other things, various scenes. People may be driving or flying, and they may also go on vacation or be doing other things within certainly your work of fiction. And all of this works like a funnel, like a hodgepodge of different things that are making up this work of fiction. And with that funnel, out of it comes our masterpiece, our baby, as some of us call it. Our completed manuscript comes out of it. And so, needless to say, it doesn't matter the type of genre that you're writing in. It could be fiction, it may be nonfiction, it could be poetry, or it might be drama. Regardless of your type of genre, you need to understand how to write within that type of genre. Allow me for a moment here to use myself as an example. I remember way back, oh my goodness, I think it was 20 something years ago when I wrote my very first novel. At that time, I had entitled it Tantra's Web. I thought that was a good title, and I thought I had done a great job in composing it. Well, back then, if you wanted to send a manuscript off to someone, we didn't have the technology that we have today, where we could send it by way of an attachment or USB drive or drop it into Google Docs or something. We didn't have all of that. We actually had to print out all of those pages. At that time, I think I had about 300 pages of Tantra's Web in order to send it off somewhere to an editor, to a literary agent, to a publisher that we wanted to have consider our work for publication. And at that time, I was looking to send Tantra's Web, my typed up and printed out now manuscript, off to an editor. Again, 200 or 300 something pages worth. I sent it to an editor off in New York. They sent it back to me. Again, this is the old school way. It was literally marked up with red ink like a teacher, right? And I looked through what they had to say and realized I knew nothing about how to write as I do now, and more about publishing. I knew nothing about studying and understanding my type of genre. And I was literally eaten up as far as my manuscript was concerned. One thing the editor pointed out is that I needed to consider changing the title. The editor said to me, well, you've named it Tantra's Web, and web usually means that you've written some work of mystery. And so I changed the title from Tantra's Web to Woman of Integrity. And as I looked page after page, chapter after chapter, what all of those red marks were sharing with me, I realized I didn't know how to give my characters depth. I realized I didn't know how to set up the dialogue and the dialect. I realized I didn't even know how to transition and move that story from chapter to chapter, from scene to scene. My field and my background is IT, information technology. And so needless to say, I had a lot to learn. And so I stepped back and I said, okay, let me study and let me learn and understand my genre, and then come back and write some other work. So I cleaned up, needless to say, Woman of Integrity, eventually published it, but learned some great lessons from that editor that I'm now sharing with all of you, that it is important to take the time when you're working on that manuscript and you're developing your baby, your masterpiece, into what you want. Take the time to learn about your particular genre. Now, everyone, I'm going to take a short little break. It's under 2 minutes. After the break, I will talk about those last two topics. Stay with me. If you have any questions or comments, please place them in the chat. I'll be back in just a moment. Hello, everyone. This is author Teresa Banks, and I'm here to tell you that the Ellacec Publishing website has a lot to offer. You can purchase all 5 of my books, including my 3 works of nonfiction, Becoming a Published Author, I've Got a Testimony, and Surviving a Layoff. My 2 works of fiction are also available for sale from the website. Those include Baronhood and Woman of Integrity. There are 5 different classes that I teach online, and you can register to attend those classes by way of the website. Those virtual classes include Surviving a Layoff, Zoom, PowerPoint, Book Marketing and Promoting, and Becoming a Published Author. You can purchase a video ad that will contain the content that you provide after you've made your purchase, and it'll be similar to the type of advertisement that you see by way of this particular video now. You can also buy jewelry that I've handcrafted myself, and you can purchase an I've Got a Testimony t-shirt. Go to the EllacecPublishing.com website today to make your purchase of any or all of the items that you see displayed here on the screen. You can also reach the website using the QR code located on the left-hand side of the screen. Thank you in advance for shopping at Ellacec Publishing. Okay, everyone. Hello and welcome back. Thank you for sticking with me after those couple of minutes of a break. I am author Teresa Banks, and you are watching Ellacec Publishing Live. And I have been talking about this wonderful subject matter of how to develop a manuscript. I've had so many writers that have said to me, help! That simple word. But they've said to me, they've had so many things stuck in their head for a long time, whether it has been works of poetry or manuscripts, and they need assistance on how to move that work forward. And the first 4 areas that I talked about before the break are really more of the preparation before you jump in there and begin to work on your manuscript. I'm going to bring the purple board back up again that lists out my agenda and all of the topics across the top I've covered already. And the very first one I just covered before the break, know your genre. Now I'm going to cover these last 2, being write your manuscript and edit your manuscript. And I know a lot of people, again, they're just thinking, I want to just write my manuscript. I don't want to even know all this other stuff. It's just wasting my time. But trust me, it is worth your time to know and understand those other 4 things that I mentioned. And if you are just popping in here, please play this back and watch it in the very beginning, the first 4 segments on why you should write a book, what you should write about, prepare to write, and the important one, I believe, to know your genre. Now, let me go ahead and jump into this area, which is really like the meat and potatoes, right? In regards to going ahead and moving our work forward by actually writing our manuscript. Let's jump in here. Let's delve into this subject matter at this particular time. You know, with writing your manuscript, you could use a spiral notebook, write it in that, and just a pen. Could be double the work because eventually you will still need to type it up. When you type it up, you could use a laptop, a desktop. That's completely up to you. You can use your cell phone if you so desire. And you can either type it manually or you could use dictation software. I've certainly used it in the past, like the Dragon software. Microsoft Word in the upper right-hand corner. When you use Microsoft Word, it has a dictate button. But when you're using dictation software, please use it cautiously because you may find there's a lot of editing that you have to do. It's literally taking your uhs and ums, whatever words, and so you may find a lot of editing that you need to do later. Here are some popular writing aids. Canva is one used by writers to create their covers. ChatGPT, people use it kind of like a mentor to help them out. Grammarly checks spelling and grammar and pexels I mentioned before. If you need some pictures, royalty-free or paid. ChatGPT, ooh wee. I have recently found that some writers are using it to complete an entire manuscript. I'm going to talk more about that here when I get more closer to the end of this particular segment. You know, it's okay to have a slow start. If you're working on a manuscript, don't worry about it. Just pace yourself. create notes or an outline in order to organize your thoughts and yourself and to keep yourself on track. Now, let's say, for example, I was writing, like right now, a work of nonfiction. And these are my example, my notes. And let's say it's a dessert cookbook. I'm going to put 25 homemade recipes in it. I'll certainly include pictures and details about the ingredients and how the food should be cooked. And I need to write at least 90 pages. So I'll have that spine in the book for my book. And so using these notes and just other things off the top of my head, I just have blank pages. That's what I'm going off of. I want to go ahead and start moving that forward. So here's my picture. Here's a title. Maybe I could call it Aunt Pookie's Gingerbread Men Tasty Cookies. Don't worry about things popping up in red. I know those are typos. We'll clean those up later. This is the writing phase. I have a line there, ingredients and directions I eventually need to add. Cousin Shaniqua's doubly sweet potatoes pies will be the other recipe that's in my work. And again, there's the line for consistency, ingredients, directions. I certainly will put in later. Now, when it comes to what I need to write for my manuscript, certainly the spine, which will have the title, an author name, and a publisher name. If you want to put that there, you'll need a front and a back cover design, and certainly the contents. You could have your title page, acknowledgments and dedication page if you so desire. About the author page is strictly up to you, and certainly everything in between. Jamie Jeffries has been quoted as saying, just keep writing. I love the simplicity of that. And my personal phrase is, you'll have a feeling when your manuscript is done. Don't edit a lot while writing, or you'll never finish your manuscript because you'll keep editing it, changing it, editing it, changing. Just write. Worry about the editing a little bit later on after you're all done. And be careful using AI when writing a manuscript. I hinted earlier that I wanted to talk about this in more detail, and I will do so right now. You know, when it comes to AI, I have certainly used it. I'll be the first to raise my hand and say that I have used AI before. Now, I've never used it in composing my manuscripts, but for other means in regards to my business, I've used AI. But I suggest that you be careful for actually two specific reasons. One, when it comes to AI, usually there's a human being that has entered the information that it would give to us as results, right? And that kind of implies that if there are 3 or 4 of us that go to some AI tool, and I'm not beating up Chat GPT, whether it be Chat GPT or some other AI tool, and 3 or 4 of us enter the same question or request for help within that tool, there's a possibility of duplication, right? Let's say 2 or 3 of us, we're just typing along and we're like, hey AI tool, give me a great way, a descriptive way that I could describe some yellow crocodile shoes. Enter. And then AI will generate something, and that something it generates will be the response. And my point is just that it could give me that response. It could give you that response. It can give you that response. It can give 2 or 3 other people that response. So be aware duplication could occur. And then the second thing I wanted to bring to your attention in using AI for responses is that could represent and cause a copyright issue in the long run. If 2 or 3 of us have received input from an AI tool on something we should put in our manuscript, and I realize it's open source often, and so whomever put it in there, it's open, people can use it. But if 2 or 3 of us then go off and we copyright protect our manuscript, who really owns that copyright? Because I might come to 1 or 2 of you and say, hey, this is copyright protected material. You stole my material. I might say you stole it when all of us, all 2 or 3 of us, obtained the information from an AI source. And so needless to say, I highly suggest to all of you that you please use this, use the brain power, use the creativity of yourself, and that will more than likely be really original more original than something that you could get from that AI tool. Now, let's keep moving. I keep glancing over just to make sure that I'm not missing anything in the chat. And so I appreciate those of you that, again, are listening right now and live and on with me, and those that will check things out later. I appreciate you too. I'm now going to cover the very last subject matter, being the editing phase, to edit your manuscript. Now, everything that you need to edit represent the parts of the book that I said earlier that you need to write. All of those you need to also make sure are well edited. And you could do the editing yourself if you're capable. And you don't look like an amateur, meaning you're going to have a ton of typos and grammatical issues. You can do it. Otherwise, hire someone. And the list you see that'll pop up here, these are not recommendations. I've not used them. They're just ideas and suggestions. But writers tell me they go to Upwork, Freelancer, and Fiverr when they're looking to hire an editor. And if you need help, there's a book called Illustrator's Market that you can check out. Now, remember I showed you this page earlier. I'm going to make it a bit larger. This is where I had left off when I was in the writing phase. A lot of sloppiness, right? With typos, I'm cleaning that up. Grammatical mistakes and typos, that's the first to be updated. I even took that line out. Let's say I change where ingredients and directions are laying, and I have them like this, where it looks more like a column as opposed to grouped together. But I like this particular editing route, where I make the dessert picture huge, and I use italicized and beautiful fonts. And what if whatever family member gave me the recipe, I include their picture? Aunt Pookie would love seeing her picture right there in the book. And of course, I still need my ingredients, and I still need my directions to be within the manuscript as well. And so needless to say, when we're editing, we need to certainly clean up quite a bit. Rewriting and re-editing over and 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 over. It's completely normal. Don't worry about it. It will go on until you're done. Make sure you save your most current manuscript often. I suggest saving it in at least 2 places in case your computer crashes. OneDrive, for example, and maybe a USB drive. And then the number one question people ask me all the time deals with copywriting. Officially copyright protect your work after the editing is done, because that's what you're copywriting, that completed work. If you change it, you'll need to copyright again. And here's where we're trying to get to, right? That we have our reader that has picked up our manuscript that's been turned into a book, and they are enjoying that work of ours. That is the place that we ultimately are looking to be. And so to summarize these last 2 areas of writing your work and editing your work, when it comes to writing your manuscript, again, just write. Like Jamie Jeffrey said, just write and write until, again, like I said, you have that feeling that it is done. It's like doing a brain dump at that time when you're writing. You're just putting out things that come to mind, things that are in your notes. If you're like me, things that are on a scrap piece of paper or on a Post-it, you're just trying to get that all out, informing your thoughts and using either notes or, as I said, an outline. And then once that's done, you're rolling into that editing phase where either you're doing the editing or you have hired someone who can assist you. Or if you know someone, certainly use that person that can assist you. Now, everyone, before I wrap up, I do want to share 2 more things with you. I realize that some of you may be done already. Perhaps you are ready to move to that next level. You have completed your manuscript and you are actually ready to become published, and you need help trying to either self-publish or look for that traditional publishing house or consider a literary agent or get some help on ebook publishing. Well, I have some help there. I'm going to bring some information here onto the screen, and that QR code, it will take you directly over to the Ellacec Publishing YouTube channel if you press it. And what I'm first suggesting that everyone does here is that you go to the Ellacec Publishing YouTube channel and watch this past video of mine called Get Publishing and Get Paid. It'll give you information about me and my background in publishing, and it will give you details about this class that I teach virtually entitled Becoming a Published Author. Check it out. It'll tell you about the publishing process, which is what I call it. And then after you checked out this past video, you've learned more about me and this one class of becoming a published author, then please go to the ellacecpublishing.com website and register for the Becoming a Published Author class. And if you need it, the book marketing and promoting class. And both of these classes will help you out. And this, again, is for individuals where you are more advanced and you are at a place where you are just looking to move that work forward and have it published, then this information is definitely for you. So just to recap, first, go to the Ellacec Publishing YouTube channel, check out that video that'll give you more information about me and that'll give you information about the Becoming a Published Author class. Then go to the ellacecpublishing.com website, register for that virtual class, and register for the book marketing and promoting class. I put various dates out there, different times out there with the hopes of accommodating a lot of different schedules. Now, before I close out, and my final close will be a video to show you so that all of you will have a heads up on what I'm going to talk about during the month of May, I want to say in between these monthly lives that I will do, you might have questions or you might have suggestions on things that you want me to cover. If so, please go to the ellacecpublishing.com website. You will see a Contact Us button. Press that button and fill out that short form and let me know whatever your feedback is. I would love to hear it. Now, I wish you all the best. I thank those again that have tuned in live and those that will check this out by way of the replay. I will be having a couple of other interviews coming up, shorts coming up with quick tips on publishing that will be out there on the Ellacec Publishing YouTube channel. I can't stress enough then that you want to subscribe to the channel. Now, stick around. I'm going to play that short video that will let you know what I'm going to talk about during the month of May. And I will look forward to seeing all of you then. Until then, take good care and bye-bye for now. Ellacec Publishing Live broadcasts on the third Sundays of every month from 3 o'clock until 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. You don't want to miss a live show. Like the Ellacec Publishing Facebook page and like and subscribe the Ellacec Publishing YouTube channel. Coming up on May the 18th, the topic will be Book Publishing, How to Overcome Writer's Block. Go to the Ellacec Publishing website to purchase books, t-shirts, jewelry, and a video ad. From the website, you can also register for online classes, join the Ellacec Publishing email list, use the Contact Us form for questions or to offer topics for an upcoming show as a suggestion, and you can use it to donate if you so desire to our business. We thank you so much for watching and for listening. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you back at Ellacec Publishing Live's broadcast on May the 18th.